memories of a Blue Springs mud bath and the great floods of '93, the Jefferson City football Jays opened workouts on the asphalt, away from the practice fields at JC High.
Well, Rod, we've always said, and Jeff said it doesn't make any difference what players going to practice. And so whether it's on asphalt, concrete, or on the turf, why, we got to get the work done. And I thought that under conditions this morning, with raining as hard as it was early, that, we got some things done, maybe got a little bit behind, but we're just happy to get it started.
1 week before the season opener, the Jays took the field in Atkins Stadium for the annual inter-squad scrimmage. Interestingly enough, this was the only game a Jay squad would lose in 1993. Still, though, many question marks remained as the Jays prepared for the September 3rd opener at Lafayette.
Our entire offensive backfield is gone. Our entire defensive secondary is gone. And our strength, basically, is in the defensive line, I think, and probably in the offensive line. This is the way we're looking at it right now as we approach this opening game. But the defense is going to have to carry us, and the offensive line is going to have to carry that backfield because they're young, they're inexperienced, they're going to make some mistakes. And, we just, have got a lot of big question marks right now as to who's going to come out and who's really going to hit when the whistle blows.
The Jays came out with a 28-14 opening night win in Lafayette. Joey Lopez carried over a pair of touchdowns in the first half. Aaron Smith added 2 more in the second. The Jays stormed back home to host the Tornado of Paducah Tillman, a football power from Kentucky. A big first quarter for Jaybird defensive back Ivan Benson. The junior picked off a pair of Tillman passes, exciting the home crowd. The second intercept led to a Joey Lopez 27-yard field goal, 3-0 Jefferson City. Now one of the great plays of the year. Here in the second quarter, senior quarterback Sean Thompson goes to Aaron Smith, who will bobble, hang on, and go 43 yards in for the touchdown. The Jays broke it open with 3 third-quarter touchdowns from Clay Marlin, Benson, and Prentice Dixon, making the final 30-6.
I think we once again made too many mistakes. Jeff City won the ball game. They got better as it went on, and I think
against number 7 Melville, a big effort by the JCD. Tony Tinsley playing much of the evening in the Panther backfield. The Parents' Night crowd would enjoy this one. First score of the game coming on a safety, 2-0 Jaybirds. No more scores until the second quarter when Aaron Smith runs right at the camera. 8-0 Jays. Going for the 2-point conversion. Lopez makes it 10-0. Just before halftime, Jefferson City recovered the fumble. Benson falls on the loose ball. Moments later, seconds left to intermission. Thompson to Smith, who falls into the end zone for the 35-yard touchdown. Thompson with 2 more touchdown tosses in the second half, going to Clay Marlin and Jake Taggart. The Jays rolled on to a 35-zip victory, going to 4-0 on the season.
It's a hard-fought football game, and we'll take the win, and just happy for the kids, that we could come away with number 3. And we got a lot of work to do, Rod, but great win for the team tonight.
Following an off week, the Jays renewed the best high school rivalry in Missouri, hosting the Hickman Cupies. Columbia got on the board first after this long touchdown pass. Jays trailed 7-0, but not for long. Just into the second quarter, Thompson to Clay Marlin, who throws the forearm and scores. JC drove the field again. Talk about coming right into the camera. That's what Joey Lopez did. Jays up 13-7 after the 9-yard run. Meanwhile, the defense shut the door on the Cupes. Tinsley and Sam Bremerkamp in on the sack. The Jays controlled the ball on the ground. Aaron Smith, 44 yards on this play with some nifty moves. That would set up a Benson touchdown, leading 18-7 at halftime. Benson and Smith scored in the second half as the Jays clobbered the Cupes 32-7. A rare Saturday regular season game the following weekend. The Jays, now ranked 2nd in the state, travel to St. Louis Sumner, the number 4 team in Class 5A. The Bulldogs had not given up a point all season until they met the Jays. A bone-jarring 2 hours of football, the only scores coming on a Benson 64-yard jaunt in the first half, then a fourth-quarter run by Thompson. Sumner came in averaging 43 points a game. The Jays allowed none. Jefferson City 13, Sumner nothing. The Jays were 4-0. Back home for Rockhurst, the first of 2 meetings with the Hawklets. A little trouble out of the gates, but that was the only mistake for the Jays. Riddled with injuries, the Jays needed some overachievers on this night, and they found them. A game of field position early, the Jays kept the Hawklets deep in their own territory. Then Jefferson City's offense caught fire. Thompson to Benson, hooking up, setting up the Benson score on the first play of the second quarter. Nice move, in for the touchdown. The Jays would lead it 7-6 at halftime. Both teams traded turnovers in the third quarter. Clay Marlin came up with the big fumble recovery as the momentum swung back the Jay way. Then the key drive of the game, 78 yards, 10 plays. Lopez carries in for the touchdown. And look at this, newly designed 2-point conversion. Tommy Boston comes out throwing to Ivan Benson, who hung on just long enough. 15-6 Jaybirds. One more score to seal it in the fourth. Thompson to Benson. The banged-up Jays rolled on to an inspirational 22-6 victory.
We just feel real happy that our kids, came out on top, and have an awful lot of praise and respect for this squad this year because, we went in the bowl game crippled up, played without 3 starters on offense and defense, and yet they all sucked it up and came out with a victory. So, I've never been proud of a squad in my life. It was a great win for Jeff City.
Moving on to district play at Fort Zumwalt South, the first of 3 big blowouts. Opening drive, 79 yards on 9 plays. Benson finishing with the last 23. The Jefferson City defense was simply dominating. The D-line anchored all year by Lee Irwin, Doug Patterson, Tony Tinsley, Darrell Colton, Mike Ritchen, and Pat Ningucci. Second quarter, Ben Balk went in for the 9-yard score. It was 14-0 JC. The visitors were looking to blow it wide open. Another big play by the defense. Tinsley with the fumble recovery here set up touchdown number 3. Thompson to Benson with a 26-yard scoring strike. Lopez added 3 second-half touchdowns as Jefferson City eased on to a 50-6 victory. The Jays moving to a perfect 7-0 heading into homecoming. And for Pete's sake, the Jays never lose on homecoming. The legendary coach made it 36-0. This year's victim, the Knights of Francis Howell North. First possession, quarterback Sean Thompson faked out everybody, even the cameraman. Then he goes 62 yards, and that was just the beginning. The senior-dominated offensive line led by the likes of Kyle Horn, Jared Craighead, Kyle Leeds, Sean Cooley, Sam Bremerkamp, Lee Irwin, and Clay Marlin opened some gaping holes. Ivan Benson scored 2 touchdowns on the ground in the opening quarter. It was 20-0. Benson again in the second quarter on a 15-yarder. One more score before intermission. Tommy Boston to Ben Balk, 26 yards with a nifty twist for the touchdown. Along with all of the offensive firepower, the Jefferson City defense turned in another stellar effort. Only a fumble return prevented the shutout. Jays 47-7 winners, 8-0 on the year, a victory away from a district title.
It's a great win, Rod. We came out of the blocks real fast. The kids were ready to play, and we played, I think, probably the best 2 quarters of football the first half we've played all year long.
Back on the road for the regular season finale at Francis Howell. A cool night, but the Jays warmed up early, starting with a 73-yard drive. Darrell Colton carried in for the touchdown. But Howell answered after a fake punt. It was 7-7 until late in the second quarter. That's when Sean Thompson went airborne to Ivan Benson, one of the great fingertip catches of the season, 13-7 at halftime. The Jays blew it wide open with 3 third-quarter touchdowns, a 45-7 victory, claiming the district championship and a 7th undefeated season in the last 8 years, a perfect 9-0. That set up what proved to be the scare at sectionals. Back home hosting St. Charles West, things started well for Jefferson City, now ranked number 1 in the state. Joey Lopez made school history with this long 47-yard field goal, 3-0 Jays. Following a fumble recovery, Ivan Benson broke free, 27 yards in for the touchdown to make it 10-0. Darrell Colton ran in another touchdown to make it 16-0. It looked like the route was on, but St. Charles West, the Warriors, fought to the finish. The Jays hung on to win it 23-18. A wake-up call for JC.
Really disappointed in their defense. One of the poorest performances by the defense around here in a long time. But on the other side, we have to give St. Charles a lot of credit. They came to play.
And the Jays came back to play in the state quarterfinals. Jefferson City stinging mad against the Yellow Jackets of Lebanon. First a Lopez 1-yard run, then a Thompson to Benson connection, making it 14-zip. With seconds left until halftime, Thompson went back, found Ben Balk on the 14-yard touchdown toss. Jays up 21-0 at intermission. Then busting it wide open on the first play from scrimmage in the second half, Thompson dashed 55 yards, nearly 400 yards of total offense for JC as the defense shut down and shut out the Yellow Jackets. 41-0 the final. That set up a second meeting with Rockhurst in the state semifinals in what would be the third straight home playoff game for the Jays.
I think the system screwed up, Rod, just between you and I. There isn't any way this could happen to us because we've been the poor fellas out of state who've traveled all over Missouri, in the past 12, 15 years on these playoffs. So it's a great feeling, and some of these people who, travel 10 miles from home in the city, they ought to be in our position. I love it, and I know Rockhurst is glad to be coming to Jeff City because they're in the semifinals, but on the other hand, I know they don't want to come to Jeff City, so we love it, and it's going to be a great matchup.
Pete Atkins led Missouri's top-ranked team onto the field for the latest in memorable Jefferson City Rockhurst battles. Jaybird Red packed into the Atkins Stadium stands, and no one would leave early. Jay's second possession, quarterback Sean Thompson connected with Ivan Benson on a pretty play, going 44 yards down to the 6. But the Hawklets D would hold, keeping the Jays out of the end zone on 4th and 1. Still scoreless with a minute left until intermission, the Hawklets' Matt Kroll picked off one of 2 Rockhurst intercepts, taking it to the J39. Later, the Jefferson City special teams, though, came up with a special play, blocking the field goal try, ending the first half at 0-0. Same story in the second. Domination of the defense. The JCD came up big on a 1st and goal inside the 10. Then this big fumble recovery by Kyle Leeds. Late in the 4th quarter, Jefferson City's special teams were called on again for a second Rockhurst field goal attempt and the same results.
They've got a weakness there, and got a good game plan of how to block it.
Into overtime following 48 minutes of scoreless football. Both teams getting the ball first down at the 10. The Jays going first went to 4th and goal from the 1. Going for the touchdown, and they got it. Darryl Colton busted in for the first points of the game, and a very important Joey Lopez extra point made it 7-0. Rockhurst, though, answered quickly. Shalom Tolfree carried in on the first play. It was 7-6. But after 2 earlier blocked kicks, Tony Severino's club decided to go for 2 the entire game. The entire season for both clubs came down to this, a 2-point conversion. The Jays held and held on to a thrilling 7-6 victory.
I think it was our time, Rod, after we lost that one up there in 4 overtimes 2 years ago. I think this was our day, and I feel real good and real happy for the kids, for the team.
And the celebration did not end in Jefferson City. The Jays moved to Faurot Field in Columbia to meet McClure North for the 1993 Missouri State 5A Championship.
Like I said, when the whistle blows out there, man, at about 12:07 or 8, all the butterflies will be gone. Your fans are showing up. They're going to be behind you 100%. You get something to cheer about. You give yourself something to take home and something for you to remember the rest of your life. So you're going to get one opportunity like this to cheer right now.
And the Jays would make the most of their opportunity.
Let's go!
Just a minute into the game, Jefferson City's Ivan Benson broke free, scampering 73 yards for the touchdown. Before the Jaybird fans had even warmed their seats, it was already 7-0. Running wild on the Faurot Field Omni-Turf, the Jays rushed for more than 300 yards. 27 coming on this Joey Lopez run just before intermission. That set up a second Benson touchdown on 4th down from the 5. The Jays went to the locker room carrying the momentum and a 14-0 lead.
But guys, for 24 minutes to win the state championship, 14-0 against their kind of speed They're not doesn't need anything. We need a number in this third quarter. So put these guys away in this third quarter.
And the Jays did just that. A strong opening drive in the second half led to a Sean Thompson touchdown. The senior quarterback went in from 8 yards on the keeper, making it 21-zip. And more special play from the Jefferson City special teams, a trademark for any Pete Atkins coach team. The Jays forced a second bluff punt, taking over at the McClure 21. On the very next play, Thompson went airborne to Clay Marlin. The Jays would go into the fourth quarter with a commanding 28-0 lead. Meanwhile, the defense didn't let up. Craighead in on the sack. McClure North seeing stars today, but they couldn't see the end zone. Sean Thompson added a final touchdown run as Jefferson City High shut out and shot down the Stars 35-0.
Really great win. Proud of the kids that came to play today. Really played to the hearts.
Oh, this is the best feeling in the world. You know, we've been working since 7th grade doing this, practicing, beating up on each other just to come out here and win the state champion. It feels great, Hayden.
You had 7 good ones before this one. How does this one rank?
I think this one here would rank right up at the top. They're all sweet. They're all a lot of fun, and this is the way to go out.
That's all I dream about. All through 7th grade, that's your whole goal. State championship. We were talking this morning before the game. This is the day we've been living for, practicing for the last 6 or 7 years. All football's about, and it all comes down to the day.
Jeff City, every Friday night you go to the J game, sit there and you watch those guys and you think maybe one of these days I can be like them. I can go out and do what they're doing. And we did it. Today was our day.
My experience, everything that I've been on, I've been a part of a state. Aubrey won the whole thing except for last year, but now that it's my senior year, I'm very happy that we did one, and it's over now, and it's a great experience that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
I don't think, I learned a lot more things than just how to play football. I learned how to, if you really want something, you gotta work really hard to get it.
Oh, it's great. I never thought it would happen before, during 2 days and everything. We just seemed like a bunch of guys that weren't going to get very far, but we beat a couple of good teams early on, and just, I think, beating Rockhurst and Sumner, with a lot of people hurt and everything, it just gave us that much more momentum to do good. And then there towards the end, we beat Rockhurst again in overtime, and there just wasn't any stopping us.
Oh, there's a lot of things you get from J football. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, and it's what everybody says, but it's the hardest thing I've done so far. But you learn, how to work together as a team, and all friends, just kind of unite there out on the field, and you meet a lot of great guys, and coaches are great. They help you through your whole career in football. They're always there supporting you and stuff, on and off the field. Even though sometimes on the field, they're shouting at you, but they're all there for, the one goal is to win the state championship. And without everybody there, we couldn't have done it.
Being with the team for the past 3 years has been the hardest 3 years of my life. Responsibility, it teaches so much responsibility, and you get to learn how to think for yourself and how to live how you can maybe live your life in the future. The coaches, they'll work with you, anytime you need their help, and so they train you how to do that, and you in turn help other people.
It does so much for you to instill a work ethic that's just great. There's nothing harder that you could do, but there's nothing you'd rather do if you go to JC.
And a drive to succeed. You're pushed to your limit every day in football. You go in, and when you're not at practice every day for 3 hours, you're in the weight room, and running and doing all that stuff. And I think it makes you a better person because you want to go out and you want to accomplish your goals. It gives you a drive that you want to go out and do it, and you have a work ethic that just stays with you forever.
We've gotten, all the guys on the team have just become great friends. They're like brothers out there on the field. Everybody's got to work together. You build a trust between them because you can depend on them. And definitely that's the same way with the coaches. We have to trust their decisions, and Coach Cole and Coach Atkins both do a tremendous job helping us, coaching us. I've gotten to know Coach Cole probably more personally because he's my coach,
and I know that he's been a great example for us, and he's a great man.
I'm gonna miss the crowd cheering and everything, but this is something that I could take with me, you know, all my life. You know, just look back on, tell my grandchildren, you know, that yeah, I played for Jefferson City Jays and we won state, and it's the best feeling in the whole wide world. You know?
Coach Atkins, you know, he's a great guy. He loves all the players. You know, he works our butt off. I mean, he chews us out, and then, but he's always, you know, he wants us to do our best.
I guess the hard practices, the long hours, the yellings, the hits, the wins, and the fun that we have after the games, after we win. Those the main things that I'll take with me.
Just the winning tradition and just being around everybody, and just a great experience. I'll remember this for the rest of my life, probably.
You gonna miss it?
Yeah. I just miss being around the guys and just playing football. And I don't think I miss practices and getting yelled at and stuff, but I just miss being around the people. Most of all, I'm playing and putting on that uniform every Friday night.
I've been hurt most of the year, and I got to come back and play in the final game, and it was a great feeling to help everybody win the state championship.
The pride that it instills being a member of a team and just working together, trying to win and winning. We won a lot.
Definitely the coaches, you know. They, you know, make us work hard, but, you know, that works out in the long run, and, you know, it's really good, and you get real close to them and everything, and then it's like you leave them as like a family, you know.
Just the tradition and pride that's been instilled into us. It's a great school, and I mean, everybody's proud that they're a part of this school.
You know, they got a lot of heart, a lot of guts, and today I think was a good example, you know, of what they've been able to do.
This 8th state title for a powerhouse of a program, the Jays from Jefferson City.